Right, so I was all for actually giving Unite General Secretary Sharon Graham some rare props. I'm a regular critic of hers, as regular viewers will know, when I was mulling over ideas for content for today. But she's done something else, directly pinned on her and her close team, that should wreck any semblance of her leadership now and appall and disgust left-leaning members of the union. It certainly has me. Well, what has she done, Damo? Well, let's start with what she was going to get some praise over first, though, because after the unions blew up at Starmer at the National Policy Forum, the rather secretive so-called meeting of minds to hammer out future Labour Party policy, for refusing to listen to them, for binning off amendments they were laying down, and generally being rude and dismissive to the point the Starmer leadership team was telling general secretaries of their funding trade unions to do as they're told and know their place, in effect, Unite have, astonishingly, refused to sign off on the thing. I mean, Graham has generally been nothing but sickeningly supportive of the Starmer regime, has faced accusations for being far too close for what passes for this current Labour leadership, yet from somewhere a spine has been discovered and flexed, no less. In a statement put out on social media on the official Unite account, it reads, "Britain's leading trade union today refused to give its backing to an important Labour document for government at the National Policy Forum gathering in Nottingham. Unite was unable to back the document in full as it clearly crossed the union's red lines, including around workers' rights in collective bargaining, an area which needs root and branch change, not just tinkering around the edges, workers' access to unions, and a weakening of language around 0 hours contracts. The process in Nottingham was also chaotic, with an attempt to push through changes to the policy document without first sharing them with conference participants, including Unite. As in any negotiation, you simply don't sign up to something without all the detail and understand the impact on our members and workers more widely. As the general election draws nearer, Keir Starmer has to prove Labour will deliver for workers, and we need clear policies on this." So basically, Starmer and co are planning on weakening workers' rights, particularly letting down those on 0 hours contracts. Mentioning of collective bargaining indicates a rowing back on repeal of anti-trade union legislation. And as many feared, it won't be a government of change from what we have now, just tinkering around the edges, little changes here and there. On top of all of that, they tried to bypass even discussing such changes with the trade unions, members, councillors, etc. in attendance, just bouncing them into signing up to it, and Unite refused to be bounced. So fair play, a good decision made. Starmer's Labour mates, it appears to be even worse than we thought previously possible, but it just keeps going that way, doesn't it? But if only Graham was so vociferous in fighting the right fight all the time, because she's damned herself in the news that broke after this happened. Now, I've already covered the story regarding Unite banning showings of the film Oh, Jeremy Corbyn, The Big Lie from all Unite buildings, which led to outcry from people who wanted to see the film. 2 showings in Portsmouth, for instance, had to be hastily rearranged with a new venue found because of this. Further developments have come to light. Before I go on to them, it's worth mentioning that since those first allegations came out, another story recently emerged where Unite actually banned one of its branches from making a donation to that film as well. A branch in the southeast of England had overwhelmingly passed a motion to send £500 to Platform Films, the makers of The Big Lie. Now, you might think a trade union shouldn't be spending its money on something like this anyway, but that is up to their members. It is their choice. And under the union rules, it says branches shall have direct access to a proportion of membership subscriptions. Such a proportion and access arrangements to be determined by the Executive Council and may be conditional on performed compliance with financial reporting requirements. These funds may be used to meet the cost of administering the branch, for recruitment and other campaigns approved by the Executive Council, for local affiliations, to assist members or their dependents who have suffered misfortune, or for any other worthy cause, subject to any provisions elsewhere in these rules, and that no general purpose funds shall be used for political objects. So a donation to a film company should, therefore, by the union's own rules, be treated as a donation under any other worthy cause, but was instead blocked for being political when the recipient would have been non-political. So not only is the union abusing its own rules over the Jeremy Corbyn film, but it should actually be taking notice of the content, given it exposes what the leadership of the political party they fund has got up to. Well, another showing of the film was due to be held at Tony Benn House, a Unite property in Bristol. But just like elsewhere, it got cancelled, except this time they've slipped up slightly. Coinciding with this latest viewing, the journalist Asa Winstanley of Electronic Intifada was due to speak there as well, to promote his new book, Weaponising Anti-Semitism, How the Israel Lobby Brought Down Jeremy Corbyn, as part of his UK promotional tour of his book. This was the Bristol leg of it. Well, the local Unite community branch who organised this event soon got told it had been cancelled. But the slip-up came courtesy of Sharon Graham's number 2, Assistant General Secretary Gail Cartmail, in an email sent to the organisers and seen by Electronic Intifada as well as Squawkbox, who have reported on this story a lot. Cartmail has apparently claimed that Asa Winstanley's publication has already caused deep hurt amongst Jews in Britain. Cartmail specified that she was responding at the request of Unite's General Secretary Sharon Graham, who has numerous industrial commitments at the moment. Right, so Sharon Graham is directly responsible for banning this event now. Cartmail just admitted Graham is personally involved in banning this, surely. Cartmail also apparently said in the email that the union was following the line of Keir Starmer and right-wing pro-Israel groups, that the film, and particularly Asa Winstanley's book, were being blocked because of that supposed deep hurt felt by UK Jews. So Sharon Graham can play the hard ass over policy decisions against Keir Starmer, but still toe the line with him when it comes to the rubbish allegations made against this film and the nonsense weaponisation of anti-Semitism that has gone on and still is. It's not just Unite jumping to Keir Starmer's tune on this, though, according to this email, but right-wing pro-Israel lobby groups too. Well, who was that then, Damo? Well, I will say to you, have a flaming guess. Last night, the campaign against anti-Semitism claimed responsibility for Unite cancelling Winstanley's book event. They put out a statement saying, "We would like to thank Unite the Union, who, after speaking with CAA, cancelled tomorrow's planned launch of Asa Winstanley's book, Weaponising Anti-Semitism, followed by a screening of the anti-Semitism denial film, Oh, Jeremy Corbyn, The Big Lie." This is the same organisation that visibly has charity status, no less, that saw the main showing of The Big Lie cancelled at Glastonbury after going to their sponsors, and also, as I recently covered, celebrated the attacks made on the film at Leicester University after he got shown there to the chagrin of the university's Starmery Labour Society. The CAA are seemingly using its charitable aims right now to target showings of the Jeremy Corbyn film The Big Lie, as their pinned tweet on their Twitter account at this moment in time reads, "Follow our successful campaign to get Glastonbury to abandon its planned screening of the anti-Semitism denial film, Oh, Jeremy Corbyn, The Big Lie. We will now be writing to venues across the country to ask they also not show this propaganda." The fact remains that the weaponisation of anti-Semitism was used to bring down a left-wing Labour leader whose policies couldn't be attacked because they beat the pants off whatever establishment politicians wanted. That 3 years after he ceased to be Labour leader, the lie that brought him down is still being propagated, that he is still living rent-free in the twisted minds of an organisation who, after Corbyn was brought down, boasted of having slaughtered him on video. CAA are a Zionist, pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian group whose charitable status is a running joke, with far too much malign influence on those who would stand up to racism in all its forms, including when it is used falsely, as it has been towards Jeremy Corbyn and as it has been towards Asa Winstanley's book, which challenges that false narrative head on. Even Corbyn-bashing MP Margaret Hodge has accused the CAA for using anti-Semitism as a front for political attacks, so that was fine for them to do when Corbyn was still leader. She used to be a charitable patron of theirs then. When Channel 4 once interviewed Palestinians over human rights abuses they were suffering, the CAA tried to get Ofcom to censure the channel over it, though that at least failed. The Institute for Jewish Policy Research has described the CAA's behaviour as irresponsible, and in 2016 more than 100 leading British Jews wrote to The Guardian to distance themselves from the pro-Israel lobby group, whilst the following year some 250 UK academics wrote an open letter in The Independent accusing the CAA of outrageous interferences with free expression and direct attacks on academic freedom. The CAA and Keir Starmer are basically one in the same on this issue, disgraces both. And Sharon Graham is now directly linked to the cancellation of both Corbyn and Winstanley via the book event and via film screening cancellations, since the excuse made by Graham's supporters for so long has been that this has come from lower down the chain, so to speak. It hasn't. These bans have come right from the top. Sharon Graham has been exposed as a direct part of this by her assistant GenSec Gail Cartmail, and members, myself included, are raging over this, disgusted by the actions of our union. And there's no coming back from this for Graham that I can see now. Her reputation is trashed by this. She is as bad as Starmer. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share and subscribe if you did. More content out daily. Meanwhile, here's a video recommendation for you where Corbyn film can't even get shown by students without the CAA interfering unjustifiably, as I said, about Leicester University. So catch up on that story, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.